morning. Good morning and welcome to this special live edition of On the Pen. Hope you're all doing well today. I'm Dave Knapp, man on the Manjaro. That's why I'm here. You are on the pen. Wegovy, Saxenda, Victoza, Trulicity, Manjaro, Zepbound, Compound, that pen. And we got some breaking news this morning in terms of accessibility to GLP-1s, specifically Zepbound. We're going to get into it in just a moment. But before we do, I want to say hello to everyone who is here in the chat. I want to say hello to Sue the Dude. I want to say hello to Lisa and CJ, Holly. Welcome. Good morning. Happy Wednesday morning. Did y'all catch the podcast yesterday? I hope that you did. But we've got some breaking news this morning that I'm rather excited about for a couple of reasons in terms of where you're going to be able to get your Zepbound vials from in the future. So before today, if you wanted to get the LillyDirect vials, you had to go directly to Eli Lilly. You had to go through their portal, sign up for their things, et cetera, et cetera. It was just a barrier to access to some people. And for the first time ever, patients will be able to walk into a local pharmacy and fill their Zepbound vials, something we fought so hard for here at On the Pen and in our community, release the vials, right? And now they're releasing the vials at Walmart. So 4,600 in-store options nationwide will allow patients to get the prescription for the Zepbound vials, the direct cash pay vials from their doctor, and go fill that at their local Walmart. So this is really good news for accessibility. Now, there's definitely been some questions right off the bat about, will it be cheaper? How does this all work? Well, essentially it works the same. Nothing has been announced in terms of anything being different with the LillyDirect files through Walmart versus LillyDirect online. In other words, $349 for the starting dose of 2.5 milligrams, and then $499 a dose for the remaining therapeutic doses. Now, this is cash pay. It happens outside of the PBM payer system, so they don't count towards your deductible. There's no insurance involved. It's just a direct cash pay price. Again, $249 for the starter dose, $349 for the starter dose, $499 for all the other doses. There's still the 45-day requirement that you have to refill your prescription every 45 days, or you lose the benefit and have to go to the list price of the medicine. So I've talked to thousands and thousands of people over the last couple of years who have literally driven across state lines in snowstorms, just braved the elements to get these medications. So to think about a day where not only is there ample supply, but you can even get the cash pay version super, super efficiently through your local Walmart pharmacy. And I'm excited about this for more than just that reason. Good morning, Darian, Morgan. Welcome, GS. Good to see you, Marty. I'm excited because when these programs started, Lilly was really the first to offer this direct to consumer cash pay option, right? Going around the PBM, sort of circumventing the system, no longer going to wait for Washington, D.C. to act. We're going to actually just go direct to consumer. So when they did, I thought this is a really great play, but my concern was throttling and filtering everyone through their own program, because what does that do to the local pharmacies who are already getting hammered on PBM rebates, Medicare reimbursement, you name it? The local pharmacy has had a rough go. And so my hope for all of this is that it expands beyond just Walmart pharmacies, that local pharmacies would be able to get in on this. The mom and pop pharmacies would be able to get in on this, TBD. But for now, you have to imagine that is the future, right? Because 35% of all prescriptions for Zepbound that are being written today are being written for the direct cash pay Lilly vials. And so that's a huge, staggering number. We've got an earnings call coming tomorrow for Eli Lilly, and I think we're going to hear more about their plans to expand this program. And so I imagine that other pharmacies will get involved down the line here. Now, another thing that I think is important to note here that I'm sure is a question hanging over your heads is, when can my doctor actually prescribe this? Your doctor can start prescribing LillyDirect vials now. I mean, they could have done that all along, but getting it through Walmart will start mid-November. So we're literally just a couple of weeks away from being able to go to your Walmart pharmacy and fill the Zepbound vials cash pay, which is an exciting proposition for those who maybe don't want to use the Lilly platform, don't like mail order. I mean, we could talk about mail order all day. I don't know if y'all remember some content that I made a couple years ago when I got frozen Ozempic, the Frozempic scandal of 2024, or maybe it was 2023. I can't even remember at this point. But getting medicine that needs to be temperature controlled in the mail can be quite a interesting endeavor. And so I know, like, for me, if I'm paying $500 out of pocket for my medicine, I'd like to know that it was handled appropriately, so that I know that it's going to work the way that it's supposed to work, that it's going to be safe. And so I'd much prefer to get my medicine through a local pharmacy versus a mail order pharmacy when it's a cold chain storage injectable drug, especially one expensive like this. Darian wants to say, if you're purchasing vials from LillyDirect and you decide to go to local Walmart, how will they know if you've refilled within the 45-day period? Does Walmart have to report to Lilly? So what I believe happens here is that when you enroll in the LillyDirect program, it's not a savings card per se, but you're enrolled in a program that is tracking your fills wherever you fill them. And so that's my sense on this, Darium, is that although it doesn't work like a traditional savings card, that is all tracked at the patient level when you sign up for LillyDirect. So my sense is that we'll all be speaking together, and that the 45-day refill period will be tracked through LillyDirect. And then if you go outside that 45 days, that you will ultimately see a bump in the cash pay price. But it's a really, really great question. And I'm definitely making assumptions when I answer that question. So don't take it as gospel. But I do believe that is how that program works. I know that with the cash pay price for Novo, you're actually getting like a savings. It is more of a savings card, the way that they structured it. Lilly isn't like that, but still a program that you're enrolled in that has tracking. Tell me more about the Frozempic. Did you get my info from Condi Carmack on effects of freezing tirzepatide? I don't know that I did see that, Michael, but I think I have somewhere upwards of 6,300 emails in my inbox right now. So it's possible that I missed it. Yeah, 6,385. Yeah. It's so hard to keep up with everything. People wonder why I don't get back to comments and emails all the time. It's like I just miss things. I'm only one guy, but we're working on it. But the Frozempic, yeah, I mean, I received frozen Ozempic in the mail in the wintertime. It sat on an airplane for several days. I want to say it took like a full week for it to get to me, and it was like record low temperatures in the Midwest. I think it was stuck on a truck somewhere in maybe Kansas City, and by the time I got to it, it was frozen. And it was just an interesting, eye-opening thing, because there are medicines that once they're frozen lose their efficacy or can be dangerous. I've heard stories about even kids who are on medications, serious medications to keep them alive, that have had temperature abused medications come through mail order, because of course these PBMs, it's one of the other evil things that they do to people, is that they force them to use their own pharmacies so they can make as much money as possible. And then, your health be damned, they send it out in the mail in 110-degree weather, and it sits around for a couple of days. And then of course they don't want to replace it, so they're going to fight tooth and nail to replace it. And so the time temperature stuff, I mean, when we're talking about on the podcast about orals and the future of oral medications, and I was getting rather, curious in terms of what the actual appetite is for orals, at least in the community. I think outside of this community, patients who are coming in new are very interested in orals because they'd rather not take the injectable. But I think for those who have just had the injectables and taken them, they love them. And I love the idea of the scalability of the orals, just in terms of this kind of stuff too. You don't have to wonder, like, do you ever take a shot 1 week? I'm curious. Let me know in the comments of this video. Do you ever take a shot 1 week and it's just like it didn't work? It's almost like you didn't take a shot at all. I often do wonder what happens to these medications in transit, right? Because you talk about reconstituting peptides, and they're like, these peptides can break down. They're very unstable. And it's like, this thing's on an airplane bouncing around. It's in a FedEx truck bouncing around. It's in all this stuff. And then you don't know about the temperature. Did it get too hot? Did it get too cold? And there is technology for them to monitor all that. It's just they don't invest in it, most of the folks who are shipping these medications. And it's like, by the time it gets to you, do you know that it's actually like working to its full potency? Is a question that I think people ought to ask when it comes to mail order injectable drugs. I mean, I just think it's a less ideal way to get things. And so for the orals, I think you at least have that peace of mind that it didn't require any sort of special storage along the way to make sure that you're getting the maximum potency out of the medication. It's a harder question to answer in terms of the injectable medications. Good morning, Sharon. Welcome to the stream here. Kelly says, yes, every once in a while, I swear I injected water. Not often, but sometimes. And I've heard that along the way from a good number of people who have had those weeks. And I'm not saying that this is what happens in every instance. I think the injection site matters. When you're dosing up, there's this whole idea of the peak and the trough of how much medicine is in your bloodstream. And so early on in dosing up, there's less medicine in your bloodstream than there is, say, 4 weeks into the same dose. But all of those things sort of can play into that. But I do think that this topic of conversation is relevant, and I do think it could impact some people. Michael says, yes, freezing can make it less potent. The lamination of the peptide. Yeah, peptides are very fragile. And so when they're not handled just so, those peptides can start to break down. And when they break down, they lose potency. And honestly, some of them, I believe, can cause damage in your body. That's one of the things that we talk about when people are reconstituting cagrilintide, and those folding of the amyloid proteins, and what that can do within the body is kind of scary. And so these are all things that I think about in terms of patient safety. And so, yeah, move to bring this all back home, folks. Bringing a local option, pharmacy option, I think is a really, really good thing for patients who are spending $500 a month on a drug, to know that, you're relying on the cold chain storage of a massive company like Eli Lilly and then Walmart to record how all that stuff is handled. I just feel better about it personally. Ruben, welcome. Good morning. Thank you for being here. If anybody has any other questions, feel free to drop them in the comments of the video here. Would love to answer any other questions. I have a few minutes this morning to spend with you. I hope that you're all doing well. Hope that you all caught the podcast yesterday. If you didn't, I hope you'll go back and check it out. Leave a 5-star rating and review on the podcast on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. That really helps to propel what we do. And we're consistently in the top 50, sometimes in the top 20 of all medical podcasts in the United States. And we are able to do that because of those reviews. Really, really help. And you all leave great reviews for us. So if you haven't done that before, I would just ask that you would do that today. Not a whole lot that I have left to talk about on the Lilly vials, but I will just mention that the case that Mochi, just a separate topic of conversation, the Mochi case that Lilly brought against Mochi to basically sue Mochi over a number of things, corporate practice of medicine, marketing, etc., was thrown out by the judge last evening. We got news that was thrown out. Which is very interesting on the heels of the whistleblower allegations that were finally released, that we covered a couple of days ago. If you missed that video with Lee Fits In, he had submitted a request back in March for the whistleblower information and only got it real recently. And so that was kind of fascinating to go through with him and hear some of the crazy allegations of what's been going on there. Allegations of relabeling research grade peptides, allegations of testing out new sterilization techniques on medicine that was going out to patients, potentially workers that were picked up in a parking lot getting access to patient records and things like that. So a lot of salacious allegations. None of that was used in Lilly's argument against Mochi. So that might tell you something about the validity of those whistleblower allegations or anybody's ability to prove them. So that case was thrown out. Of course, Lilly has, I think, till mid-November, about the time that they're dropping the Lilly vials at Walmart, to refile, making a different case. But essentially, the judge in this case said you didn't make your case that you had any damages. You didn't make a case that that the product that they were offering was inferior, et cetera, et cetera. So very interesting stuff there on the topic of Mochi and Eli Lilly's lawsuits that are ongoing to shut down compounded versions of these medications. ST Wong, I do currently get mine through LillyDirect, and I've been concerned about all the waste for the shipment containers. Glad I can move to pick up locally and eliminate shipment cooler waste. That is a really excellent point too. The over packaging of this stuff. I mean, you pull out the Lilly vials, and I've seen them in a couple different packages before, but they're only about this big. I mean, they're very small packages, but it comes in a box like this with 8 different ice packs, and of course, you want to make sure that the drug stays cold, et cetera, especially in the summer months. But it seems like that packaging could be much more consolidated than it is. And so, yeah, I feel we try to reuse the ice packs in our kids' lunches throughout the week, because my wife also gets other mail order medication that has to be refrigerated for her biologic. And so we just have a ton of this stuff, and it all does seem very wasteful. Cicelyne, good morning. Good to see you here. Definitely an OG name in the house. Good to have you. Good to have you here. Michael says now you have to worry about Walmart storing it properly. I wouldn't personally, because I bet they have so many checks and balances along the way. It doesn't mean that stuff can't be faked. But I would guess that part of Lilly's choosing to work with Walmart directly, their systems and processes for handling cold storage medication was part of that. Ruben says this was a smear campaign. Is Strive Pharmacy out of Arizona? Okay, so when I partnered with Shed, because we were looking for a partner that offers compounds, because so many people have been asking me about the different things that are available for compounds, other peptides, et cetera. We wanted to partner with somebody who partnered with a good 503A, because most of the options that come around anymore are 503A. We did our homework, and Strive is the one that we trust. Strive is out of Arizona, so we partnered with Shed. You can learn more about them at tryshed.com, and if you use code OTP20, it gives me a little bit of credit on the back end and helps us support the work that we do here at On the Pen. You can also get more information in a direct link at our links, otplinks.com. But Strive Pharmacy is great. I've met their people. I've learned about their operation. We're going to bring you more information about why all of that is in the future. But yes, to answer your question, I am a truster and believer in the work that they're doing at Strive Pharmacy. KM says, just so you know, freezing already reconstituted tirzepatide does not cause it to lose effectiveness. I really wish you got your facts straight before broadcasting misinformation. Peptides are a lot. Freezing reconstituted tirzepatide does not cause it to lose effectiveness. So KM, sweetheart, this is not what Eli Lilly says, the manufacturer of the real drug. So before you come in here with this kind of nonsense, I wish you would get your facts straight. But thanks for playing. Let's see here. Sue the Dude says, my freezer is full of those ice packs. If my fridge goes out, I'm just going to pop them in and keep my Zepbound cool. That is a really smart idea. I mean, keeping those things, they're highly wasteful. But if you can find another use for them, I think that's great. Dewey, that is a throwback name. I really appreciate you being here, Dewey. Good morning. Good to have you here. So thank you for being here. I appreciate y'all. So yeah, I feel like we've beat this news into the ground. I go to obesity.news to get more information about all of the things, all the news stories in obesity medicine. We try to bring you information that empowers you to have more competent and confident conversations with your doctor. And I hope that you will check that out. Sign up for email alerts while you're there. Kelly says, I feel like for newbies, getting vials through Walmart will be less intimidating than going through LillyDirect, I think more newbies will feel comfortable to start the meds. I think that you may be right about that. I think that it's opens the door for patients who maybe felt uncomfortable with that process before. And again, I think it's important for people to know that any doctor, any primary care doctor, can prescribe the Lilly vials. And so if that's something that you want to go, I know our partners at Shed will prescribe the branded medications as well. And our friends Claimable can help you get insurance coverage. If $500 is still too much a month to pay, which I believe that it is, you got to check out our folks at Claimable who help fight those prior authorizations. All that available at otplinks.com. Dave, set a goal of reading 1,000 emails today, bud. Yeah, I'll get right on that, Sue. It's just crazy how many emails I get. It's wild. Can't keep up with it. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for being the best part of what we do at On the Pen. Couldn't, wouldn't, and shouldn't do it without you. I appreciate each and every one of you hanging out here. Thank you for all the old faces that I'm seeing in here. Not that your faces look old, but you're like the OGs. Woodkirky, welcome. Thanks for doing the real research instead of TikTok docs. Thanks, Woodkirky. I appreciate it. Always appreciate your support here. I mean, like I'm seeing some of these names like Woodkirky and Sue the Dude and Dewey and a lot of OGs in the house. Michael Clanton, Darium. Some of these names that have literally been around for years now at On the Pen. And I hate letting an opportunity go by without just telling you all that I'm extremely grateful. I don't know if you caught this because I think I only mentioned it on one podcast, but this is my full-time gig now. This is what I do every day is I do obesity medicine news. On the Pen is my job. And so between our sponsors and the support that you all have given me, that allows me to do this full time, to wake up every morning and to be able to just find the news stories that are going to empower you to ultimately, we say, have better conversations with your doctor. But at the end of the day, it's about more than that. At the end of the day, it's actually about you having better health outcomes because of those conversations. And so to have that ability to sort of speak into your health journey every day, to empower you to have better conversations with your doctor is such a gift to me. It's such fulfilling and rewarding work. And I literally, you gave it to me. You gave it to me. And I take it very seriously. That's why I don't put out information like that other person was sharing in here earlier. We try to be as careful as possible with the information that we have. So thank you. Kelly says, great news, Dave. Thanks. You're welcome. Thank you for giving me this platform. Darium says, congrats, OTP full time. That's right. Thanks, Darium. Really appreciate it. Sue the Dude says, wow, cool. Awesome. The shape says Darium, right? I've been waiting on my appeal for Zepbound. I will let you know how it goes. Thank you for giving us tools for the fight. Are you using Claimable for that? Or are you fighting on your own, Ruben? Just curious to know. Good morning, Dave. Thank you for the info. I passed it along. Awesome. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you all being here. It's fun to jump on here and do a live stream. I think we'll probably be doing more of this throughout the week as news breaks. Ruben is using Claimable. That's awesome. For those of you who may not know what Claimable is, I'll just pop a banner up real quick. They're a sponsor of our podcast. You can go to getclaimable.com/OTP and code OTP10 will save you 10%. But what it is it's a platform that just helps you to fight your insurance denials. So if your insurance denies you, really there's a lot of medications that it will fight for, but for $40 they have a 50% track record of getting people back on their GLP-1s for obesity, and they have about an 80% track record with every other drug in every other category. So for $40 a month, you can really do yourself $40 one time, I should say. You can really do yourself a favor by getting back on the medication. It's really amazing. Thanks for the Strive information. I feel better. Yeah, Strive is a great company. I just met them down at or over at the health conference last week, which was a really exciting thing. I'm going to see if I can maybe throw a picture up on the screen. Got to learn a little bit more about what they do over at Strive and how they do it. I mean, it's a 503A pharmacy, which there's a really, if you've been following me for any time, we've tried to educate on what that actually means. you know, and I think there's such a wide variety of 503As and who they are and what they do and how they do it. And I wanted to make sure that we were working with one who did things the right way, right? And they do. And so that's where I get really excited to meet folks in the space who go above and beyond in terms of making sure that patients are safe, making sure they're following all the protocols. And so when I was like, I'm going to get behind a 503A, it had to be the right one. And Strive is the company that I chose to work with in terms of partnering with the telehealth that uses Strive almost exclusively, but not entirely. So Strive, I do have a picture. I was going to try to upload that here. I do see some other comments that I need to get to here. Recent. Where's that picture? Here's a couple of them. So yeah, just sort of meeting the folks at Strive at the health conference. There's one of me interviewing Zach from Strive. There's some of their branding around the trade show as well. It was really cool to meet them. Let's see you jump in here. I know I missed some stuff. Holy smokes, Dewey dropped a $50 super sticker. Holy, I can't even remember the last time we got a super chat. Thank you, Dewey. That's extremely kind and generous of you. Very, very kind. Thank you. And Dewey's been around here for a long time, so thank you so much for that, Dewey. Really appreciate that. Really, really generous. Holy smokes. Holly says it's great to have so much up-to-date info. Yeah, thank you, Holly. I appreciate that. If you'd like to, you can jump over to obesity.news and put your email in and subscribe, and you'll get articles directly to your inbox every day. So thank you so much for saying that. And I'm sure you probably already are subscribed, but always got to plug the website. Off topic, Dave, what's your Shapa discount code? Oh man, a lot of questions on the sponsors today. Shapa is going to be, you can go to home.myshapa.com. And my discount code is OTP30. It's actually going to save you 30%. Now the Shapa scale is a game changer for me. If you're just tuning in and you're like, what's the Shapa scale and why are we asking about it? I would just say, if you have a dysfunctional relationship with the scale, the Shapa is the numberless scale. So it gives you 10 days of aggregate data instead of like what your weight is today. Right. And so it's going to put you in a color zone. You can kind of like see that, right? The different colors. So gray zone means you're gaining lightly or gaining a lot. Green means you're maintaining. Teal means you're losing a lot, and teal means you're losing weight, and then blue means you're losing aggressively. And so you're just trying to, like zoom, because you have 10 days of data. You're not so myopically focused on what's happening today, which isn't always the best metric to track, right? So definitely the Shapa scale is a game changer for me. I'm down to 265. It's my lowest weight in 10 years. And I really strongly attribute that to the fact that I step on this scale every day. I don't step on a number scale every day, because when I do that, it detracts from my journey in terms of, on an intellectual level, I can step on the scale and be up 5 pounds and know I didn't gain 5 pounds yesterday, but it can derail me from stepping on the scale tomorrow because I'm so mad or frustrated or pissed off. And then I don't step on it for another day, a week, a month, and maybe 2 months I haven't stepped on the scale, which means all of those days I wasn't engaged in the decisions that I was making as actively as I would have been if I was stepping on the scale. So Shapa gives me the gift of being able to step on it every day and get a pattern instead of a number. And it sounds so simple. And I think to some people, like, it has to even sound ridiculous. Like, why would you have a scale without numbers? But to me, it's been a game changer, and it's helped me reach my goals. It could help you reach yours. You can check it out at home.myshapa.com/OTP. And then you can use code OTP30 to save 30%. They are also obviously a sponsor of the podcast. So they're part of the reason that we're able to do this full time. We couldn't do it without the sponsors are paying the bills. So thank you for those who go and support the sponsors that we do. If you're getting medication and you want to support OTP, you could use Shed. They have coaching. They have other peptides, other modalities that they kind of work in as well, which is exciting. Let's see here. Let's see. Wood Kirky says from the basement to the penthouse. Yeah, for sure. This having this office is a game changer, and I'm thinking low key about investing some of what we make here into like building a full on podcast studio that I can rent out to other people in our area that may want to start their own podcast, but they don't know where to begin. Like you just kind of fumble through it as you're doing it, and you start to buy the equipment that you need. Like what if you could just show up to a building and they had everything that you needed to make a podcast, like, so doing something like that, I think would be really cool because there's a lot of people with a lot of stories to be told. So I get really excited about that. So more on that in the future, but just giving you a peek into like the business side, which has definitely been more where my mind's at over the last couple of months. Sometimes it's hard to manage both, to build a business at the same time as you're trying to cover breaking news every day. But that's why I'm so happy to be doing this full time now, because I have the time to jump on and we can do stuff like this. Dewey, thanks again for the $50 super chat. That was super kind. Kelly says, in my house, you're affectionately known as my buddy Dave when I speak about you to my husband and family. That's so sweet, Kelly. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. My buddy Dave. I love it. I love to hear that from my buddy Kelly. Mean balls. Wondering if Walmart announcement coincides with the earnings call. For sure. It's timed to just, they're going to tell us that probably that 35% of new prescriptions for Zepbound is now like 40. And they're going to continue to drive that direct consumer pay option home with partnering with, Walmart. Huge announcement. Definitely coincide with the earnings call happening tomorrow. Demand through the roof that they need to end their distribution channel. Like go 100% cash pay. I don't think they'll do that, but I think it's astute observation that that's right before the earnings call. Yeah, thank you, Dewey, again for the $50 super chat. Hey, Dave, everyone, happy Halloween from this almost 72-year-old lady. Thank you, Madison. I see your little picture there. You don't look a day over 50. That's I can hardly believe that. Been on compound tirzepatide since December 5th of 2024, down 55 pounds. That's amazing. That's getting your life back. I mean, you probably feel like you're 55 too. Again, like one of the things that I talk about so much on this channel when we're talking about the community and what they get out of these medications is everybody kind of gets something else. But the bottom line is everybody gets their life back, whether you were 400 pounds and now you can walk up the stairs or go to Disney or do whatever it is that you always dreamed of doing and never thought you'd be able to do, or whether it's just waking up and looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing the inflammation down and knowing that you're a healthier version of you. You're going to be around for your grandkids longer. You're going to be around for your kids longer, whatever that looks like for you. The bottom line about what these medications do, which I believe are the antidote to the standard American diet, to whatever has destroyed our gut microbiomes in this country and broken that signaling between our gut and our brain. They are the antidote, and they are giving people their life back. And so I love to hear stories like that, Madison. So thank you very much for sharing that, and happy Halloween to you. Dave, will you do a report on the earnings call tomorrow? Of course I will. I believe going back like 3 or 4 years, I've covered all the Eli Lilly earnings calls. I covered it before it was cool. Did obesity medicine before it was cool. So of course we'll be covering that and can't wait to. I think we'll get some very interesting information. Dawn says, I've been on tirzepatide in some form, brand or compound, since 12 of 22, down 95 pounds, normal BMI in 30 plus years. That is amazing. Dawn got her life back. What is getting your life back look like for you? It looks so much different for other people. For me, my dad died of a massive heart attack at 54 years old. For me, it looks like the reduction of major cardiovascular events. It looks like slaying my type 2 diabetes to allow me to be around longer for my kids, right? The weight loss has been a perk. I'm down, over 50 pounds between getting on the pen and getting diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. So 50 pounds is a bonus. But what these medications are doing outside of that are pretty profound too. Cicely says, the price is starting to drain me. My employer has taken it off our coverage, so there's no way I can get approved. There is a way that you may be able to get approved if you look at Claimable. We talked about them once already. But even though your employer has removed the coverage for it, it may be incumbent upon the insurance company to cover it if you can make a medical case for it. So I really strongly recommend, Cicelyne, that you check out Claimable. That's getclaimable.com/OTP. Just do a little bit of reading. It might be worth trying it out to see if you can get back on the medication coverage wise. Morgan says we really need this medication to be under $200 as promised by the Trump administration, but we shall see. A lot of promises going around in Washington, D.C. It's hard to ever hold your breath on anything, but it does seem like there's some progress being made. And I do believe that we'll see some sort of announcement between Novo and Lilly within the next couple of weeks. One of the interesting things we had a couple of weeks on, we had Max Baer from Endpoints. He's a health reporter for an outfit called Endpoints. They cover pharma news. And he's the one who asked Trump the question that led him to say the $150 fat shot a couple of weeks ago. In that conversation, it was fascinating because he and I were having a talk about how serious this is and how much he thinks it's going to happen. And he believes that it's going to happen, something meaningful on the price of these medications, of course, all sort of couched within Medicare and such. But he believes we'll see something. And that was a good conversation. I don't know like how many of you saw it, but it was a great conversation with Max. I'm going to go to Ozempic for the heart and vascular benefits. I think the molecule of semaglutide is starting to show itself to be cardiac protective outside of specific weight loss or even dose. We've seen that somewhat in the select trials. We saw it we talked about this on the podcast this week in terms of some of the post data analysis that it seems to be that the cardiac benefits are irrespective to weight loss and dose. So something magical about that. And of course, a couple of weeks before that, we covered a rodent study that showed that GLP-1 agonism in the heart of rodents helped to restore blood flow to hearts that had a chemically induced heart attack in rodents, where when they blocked it, heart function wasn't restored. So there's something special about that molecule for sure. On tours for 17 months is Michael. I may have missed it. If you use Walmart, will it be cheaper than having it delivered at home? It'll be the same price through Walmart. Please interview Max again on your podcast. I'd love to have Max back anytime. I'm sure we will because Max has been a good friend of mine over the last a year or two. I've made some really great friends in the media, like the real media. I believe we are the media. When the media comes to us, I get text messages from people in all sorts of media, DMs from media people that cover this stuff. Like in a way, On the Pen we have really carved out a really unique niche in the news industry. And I don't say that in a braggadocious way, but I say that as somebody who has worked extremely hard for the last 3 years to create something that never existed before On the Pen. Obesity medicine news from the patient perspective wasn't a thing until we did it. And we carved something really special and unique out. And in doing so, have made some really great relationships. And so Max is one of them. And of course, Madison over at Bloomberg. There are some other reporters that I talked to through DMs on X and such. So it blows my mind what you all have given me in embracing the content that we make. And I'm just extremely humbled by it every day and extremely honored to be in the position that you have given me. So thank you all. Hunter's appetite over 2 years now, 120 pounds down, saved Peachy Mom's life. That's amazing. Brian said I'm late. Maybe it's been talked about, but Medicare covers Zepbound if diagnosed with sleep apnea. Not sure why my doc can't tell me. I'm not sure if Medicare made that announcement that they would cover Zepbound for sleep apnea or not. I'm sure I can figure that out really quick for you though. Just hang tight. These stories, there's so many stories going on in the news at any given time, and most of them I can recall off the top of my head. But some of them I need to go back and do a refresher. Short answer is yes. Medicare can cover Zepbound, tirzepatide if prescribed for moderate to severe obstructive sleep apnea in adults with obesity, but Medicare doesn't obviously cover it for weight loss. We know that. So there's a specific kind. There's multiple kinds of sleep apnea, right? It can't be central sleep apnea, and it has to be mild to moderate sleep apnea, because that's the population that it was intended for. So the OSA is like the keyword, moderate to severe obstructive sleep apnea, moderate to severe. So if that's your diagnosis, you have a good shot at getting it. So thank you, Kelly. 100% agree with the media niche comment. Yeah. It's, I mean, maybe in some areas of the mainstream news, they would give some information, but like I've always said, news that flows out about obesity medicine is for two people, and neither of them are patients. It's for doctors or it's for investors. And so that's why when somebody asked me earlier, are you going to cover the earnings call? That's one of the first thing I started doing here at On the Pen was covering the earnings calls, because so much happens in those earnings calls, but it's hard for patients to make hide or hair of what that means for them. So I wanted to create a place where I could make that make sense to people so that they could then take that information and go to their doctor like, hey, we're on Zepbound today, but have you heard of retatrutide? I would really like to be on retatrutide when it comes out. What do you think, doc? Or, I heard that, there's shortages of these medications. I'm not going to be able to get my dose next month. Should I stay on the same dose? Like those kind of things are conversations that I know have taken place between doctors and patients because of us and what we did. And now there's even other people doing what we do, which is even greater because more people are getting obesity medicine news. So it was definitely, like, in some ways felt like a pioneer starting something that didn't exist. And I've worked tirelessly over the last 3 years to build it. You can probably see it in the bags under my eyes. I mean, I was up at this morning at 6:30 writing an article, after spending all day on the podcast yesterday. So Zepbound August 2024, down 96 pounds. Don't have to worry about passing out from heat exhaustion at a Florida theme park like I did 2 years ago at 255 pounds. That's amazing, CJ. It's getting your life back. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. Dave, what are AI-powered obesity treatments? What are AI-powered obesity treatments Lilly is working on? So I don't think they've said anything specific about what therapies they're using AI for, but they've been very specific in telling us that they are doing it. And so, like yesterday, there was a partnership between them and NVIDIA, creating a supercomputer to help forward this. But they've also made investments in companies like Xtalpi, AXTALPI, which was a Chinese AI company. Like all of this is just going to, so let's say it took 10 years to come up with a molecule and get it into clinical trials. Like that's going to be taken down to months, because these computers are going to be able to run models that otherwise, would take humans an exorbitant amount of time, and really specific humans. So like it takes the need for that human capital out and allows computers to run models to identify which molecules might be most beneficial, or conversely, what treatments to combine to help people treat maybe more severe forms of metabolic disorder and obesity. So I love the AI play. I know a lot of people go, oh, I don't know. But the fact of the matter is these things are just running calculations on things that people are putting into it in terms of what future therapies might be, how they might work. And I get very excited about it because I think we could very quickly get to the point where we have cures for cancer. We have, it just really puts on a fast track, is a rocket ship to the moon, how much faster we can achieve some of these things. So I get very excited about this. Dewey, who gave a $50 super chat earlier, says, I've been off Mounjaro for 2 months. Medicaid wouldn't pay for it because my A1C was 5.8. They said it had to be 6.5 before they pay for it. Doctor appealed. I should know tomorrow. So if your doctor fails that to get that appeal, Dewey, let me know. We'll get you connected with Claimable, because your doctor should be using your starting A1C, not your current A1C. That's why they're saying if your A1C is 5.8, you're not diabetic. Well, the problem is you're only not diabetic because it's in remission because of the drug. So when your doctor does that prior authorization appeal, in their prior authorization first, they should be using your starting A1C. Just like if you're on Zepbound and you're getting Zepbound covered by your insurance, you should be using your starting BMI, not your current BMI. Because if you get a BMI below 27, yay, the drug worked, but you're going to lose access to the medicine, because then all of a sudden the insurance company goes, you're not obese, so you don't qualify. So use your starting BMI when fighting prior authorizations or appeals. And if you're diabetic, use your starting A1C. Does that make sense? NAC may work with liver detox with orforglipron also. Interesting. NAC? NAC or NAD? Very interesting. Yeah, the orforglipron stuff's very interesting. You're welcome, Dewey. Keep me posted on that. Send me an email at david@onthepen.com. If you have troubles, we should be able to get you back on that Mounjaro, buddy. A Claimable told me that they have like a 80+% track record on getting diabetics back on GLP-1s when they go off of them. So it's the obesity ones that they're fighting harder, sadly. So yeah. Well, the questions have kept on coming. I love how engaged everybody is on a Wednesday morning. It's 9:00 here in OTP world. We covered a lot of things today. We set out to cover the news today on Walmart partnering with Eli Lilly Direct, where starting mid-November, you'll be able to get your LillyDirect vials through a Walmart pharmacy, one of their 4,600 locations nationwide. Nothing else changes about the program, same prices. They're not cheaper. They're not more expensive. You still have to fill within 45 days to maintain your out-of-pay cost at that $4.99 a month for the 5 through the 15 milligram dose. So yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Michael. Yeah, good luck, Dewey. But I'm feeling pretty confident for Dewey that we're going to be able to get him back on the medicine. And if anybody has anything else, feel free to drop it in the chat. Really appreciate you. This is an over-the-counter supplement. Yeah, always talk to your doctor. Regimen or routine with any supplementation that you're doing, but a lot of supplements, I believe, can help along this journey for sure. So thank you for being here, folks. Thank you for hanging out with me on this Wednesday morning. Who knows what news will break between now and tomorrow when we have the Eli Lilly earnings call, but we'll be back tomorrow with an earnings call roundup. Of course, you know that you can count on the pen for that. If you're new here, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button. That helps the algorithm know that this is worth getting stuff out to other people. We struggle because a lot of our early adopters for On the Pen are all in maintenance, and so they don't follow this news as closely as they once did, which is tough for the YouTube algorithm because once your people stop engaging with your content, it doesn't ever push it out to broader audiences. So it's making it very hard to grow over the last couple of months. But if you could just engage, even if you're on maintenance, just engage with the content a little bit. It's super helpful for me. And if you are new and you subscribe, that helps to get more people into the fold that can help push the content out. So thank you for those who do that. Any Reddit TrueTide update? We gave a little bit of a Reddit TrueTide update yesterday in terms of just some gray market stuff getting shut down in the UK. But no updates. Reddit TrueTide will be on the market probably early to mid 2027 is when we're expecting it. So looking forward to that. Does TERS have the same heart benefits? Hasn't been shown to have the same heart benefits yet. No. In fact, it was only marginally better in a study against dulaglutide, which was Trulicity, and in recent studies. So I'm thinking that there may be something specific to the GLP-1 molecule itself. GIP is good for a lot of other things, but it'll be interesting to see over time if it ends up being as cardiac protective as semaglutide. So thank you. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for hanging out with me. We'll catch you on the next one. Thank you, friends.